Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson. Motherhood is both amazing and difficult at the same time. The Passport Mommy, Michelle Jerson, is here to share in your journey.
It's amazing. It really is, just watching them grow and see how much change and how much they learn just without the filters around them.
Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
Welcome to the show. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. I hope you had a good week. I hope you're staying healthy and sane. And, you know, I have to tell you that I never quite understood when I always hear moms and their wine, and they always want wine at the end of the day. I'm like, oh, just have some tea. Come on, I don't get it. You know, everything wine, wine, wine. Now I get it. And I was so thrilled a few weeks ago to receive a delivery of wines from the Livermore Valley in California, just beyond thrilled. And I get it. And so whether you are home now and maybe you'd like to order some wine for yourself as a treat, either just for you after a hard day of taking care of your kids, or maybe you want to have that romantic night with your husband, if that's even possible at this point, that why not order wines from your favorite winery right now? And then when things do get better, get on the road and go visit them. And so I'm thrilled to have with me Heather McGrail. She leads her family winery called McGrail Vineyards and Winery in historic Livermore Valley, which is one of the oldest wine regions in California. So Heather, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Michelle, for having me. I'm thrilled to be chatting with you.
Sure. So I love talking with women business owners, number one, especially ones who have kids and ones who are in a family business. So tell me first a little bit about Livermore Valley.
As you had mentioned, Livermore Valley is one of the historic wine regions in California. It's a quaint region. We are really close to San Francisco. We're in the San Francisco Bay Area, but we're really close to San Francisco. And there's about 55 wineries currently. A lot of mom and pop type family owned businesses. You can pretty much get from one winery on the farthest end to the next with a 15-minute drive. So close proximity to each other. And it's just it's a beautiful place to be. It has great accessibility. It's a little bit more affordable than the wine region that's north of us. Most of our tasting fees here in Livermore are kind of more that $10 to $20 range, and the bottles of wine are usually $20 to $50. It's a wonderful place to come visit, and there's a lot more to do as well in the Livermore Valley.
That sounds great. So what are some things to do in the area? Let's say somebody's coming with young kids or maybe kids who are a little older. What are some of the other activities?
So some of the fun activities are the beautiful bike trails that we have, the hiking. We have Del Val Park, which has a lake. You can rent a boat out there. There's also Sycamore Grove that's a nice paved path that is right across the street from a winery, actually. So you could wine taste, and then you guys could go spend the afternoon on a bike ride or a walk. There is a lot of the wineries are actually very family friendly themselves. So, for example, our winery, we have bocce courts. We have a huge lawn area that people come picnic on the front lawn, bring their kids. A lot of times we'll have live music out here. And so you'll see, you know, kids from 1.5-year-olds just learning how to walk, kind of running around on the grass. And then you'll see the older kids throwing a ball around. So it's a really fun, family-oriented kind of place to be and to raise a family.
I love that. And I love that it is so easy to get to from San Francisco or the Silicon Valley, because I feel like if people are visiting San Francisco, maybe they haven't been before, to just hop on public transportation and get to you, that's so easy. And the fact that it's family friendly, and that's a reflection too, because you have 3 children. Tell me the ages of your children.
I do. I have a 4-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 10-year-old.
Wow. So do they help you run the winery?
They think they do. They have a wine named after them. So they think that they're pretty special with that. There's 8 grandchildren in our family, and the oldest is 16, and she does help us actually when we have like release party weekends. She'll help with check-in. And the younger ones more just like to go down and visit and say hi. But we do hope one day some of them will want to be part of it.
Right. Yeah. Why not? I mean, you are so lucky. I mean, it's so nice that you took over the business from your parents. Tell me the history of the winery.
So my parents had planted the vineyard in 99, and there was no real plan to open a winery. They actually had owned some property, And Phil Winty, who part of the Winty family, that's one of the historic families in the Livermore Valley, he kept urging my parents to plant a vineyard on the new property they bought. And my dad was a retired police officer and an attorney, and my mom was in real estate. And they're like, no, we like to drink wine, but that's about it. So after much convincing and many nice bottles of wine, they finally agreed to plant the vineyard. And the original plan was just to grow grapes. There was no set plan on opening a winery. And at this point, then I went off to college and was like, cool, you guys are going to be farmers. That sounds great. I'm going to get as far away from Livermore as I can. And then in 2007, I was living in Southern California, and my mom and dad called. And it was great because they had been married for, I don't know, I can't remember now. I think at the time it was like 30 years or something, a long time. And my dad calls and says, you're moving home. We're going to open a family winery. And my mom clicks over on the other line. Honey, you don't have to move home, but if you wanted to move home, we think that this would be a really great job for you. And so then my dad's calling back on the other line. No, listen to your mom. You're coming home right now.
Oh,
so
that's funny.
I did end up moving home in 2007 and helped open it with my parents. And they both kept their other full-time jobs. And then since then, my dad has passed away, and my mom still is involved, but my sister-in-law and myself kind of do the day-to-day operations of it.
That's incredible. I wonder if they did that for you, knowing that, okay, she's going to college, and when she gets out, this will be a business that she can get involved with. Did you ever lead on that would be something you'd be interested in? Or like you said, you just wanted to get as far away as possible?
I think my dad was the one that wanted to start it so that there's 3 of us kids in the family so that he could keep all of us in the local area. We always joke that dad did it just to keep the kids here. Right. But I didn't know. I mean, when I graduated college, I went to work for Gallo just by chance, had no plan. And then I actually left that job pretty quick and went to work for a magazine. And that's when I was down in Southern California and never thought that they were going to go from a vineyard to a winery at that point. But but maybe it was my dad's way of getting me home.
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. So what advice would you give? Let's say somebody is not a wine connoisseur. What should they look for when they're looking for a winery to visit or wines to purchase?
So I think those are 2 very different questions. The first one, let's say for wineries to visit, really when you go out tasting, I'd love to try places that I don't think I'll like, because a lot of times you'll be really surprised. So I usually look for what is kind of the vibe of the place I'm going for. Do I have my kids with me? Am I on a nice date weekend? Am I on a girls' weekend? Those would change what I'm looking for, right? So finding the location that fits kind of what I'm looking for. I know with Livermore, we have our Livermore Valley Wine Growers Association, and they always, every week, there's a post of what's going on where. So do you feel like having some live music? Do you feel like, playing a game of bocce? Are you more serious and want to learn about the wine? There's options for everyone. And then as far as what wine, you're just starting drinking wine, what wine do you want to buy? That one, I always tell everyone, wine should not be a snooty, snobby thing that sometimes it gets turned into. It should be try everything. That's the beauty of wine. There's something out there for everyone. If you tend to drink, I think most people start with white wines because you drink them cold. And that's just, people are used to cold beverages. Then you can try a red wine, and usually you'll start with the lighter, something like a Merlot or a Pinot Noir, a Malbec, and then you kind of build on. And if you do like tannin, or say you like black coffee and big steaks, then you might go straight to a Cabernet. That's a bigger, bolder wine.
Right.
So it just kind of depends on your taste profile. If you're really into sweets and you like everything sugary and sweet, then you're going to want to go with a sweeter white wine, or it doesn't necessarily have to be sweet, but kind of a light and fruity, like a Sauvignon Blanc or a Rosé, or Moscato.
Got it.
But there's definitely something out there for everyone.
Yeah, it's true. And I feel like your taste buds also, like you said, they might become more refined or changed. I don't know if refined's the right word, because like you said, some people just like sweet, some people like reds. So during this time when people are not traveling, can they order wines from you, from your vineyard?
Absolutely. Yep. So we're one of the biggest perks that's going on right now with all of this is almost all wineries have an amazing shipping deal. I know for us, it used to cost $50 or $60 to get a case of wine shipped from the West Coast to the East Coast. Now it's $1.
Wow.
So you can get a lot of really great shipping deals. And I want to say 90% of the wineries are shipping their wines. Every state has different laws. So you do have to go winery by winery because you have to apply for a permit if you can ship to specific states.
Okay. I think that's great for people to know because I know I just hear the chit chat around this neighborhood and it's like, oh, I can't get my wine. Oh, I can't get my alcohol. And it's like, think past your local stores when you can have this incredible experience of ordering direct from a winery.
Yeah, it was something that we've been doing that's been really fun. And I think we'll implement it moving forward is not only are we shipping wine out, now we're doing virtual tastings. So for those people that can't make it out to our tasting room, they can still spend an hour with our winemaker, get to know the wines, get to know the story of the winery or how that wine came to be. And it's just kind of getting to have a little piece of the California Livermore Valley wine country, right in your own home.
Yeah. Oh, so much fun. Heather McGrail, I wish we could talk more. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully when this is all over, I can come visit you and say hello and experience the winery for myself and my family.
That would be wonderful. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you. Same to you. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. More coming up in a few.
Motherhood is a journey. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. So for those graduating college this year, there's no doubt that the job search process will be a lot different than it has been in the past. Shortly before the last recession, the unemployment rate for college graduates under the age of 25 was just 3.7. However, during the month of March and disruptions caused by the coronavirus, the U.S. economy took its biggest hit since the end of the Great Recession, and the number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits has skyrocketed more than 6.6 million. So today I have with me the Chief People Officer of Career Builder, Michelle Armour, and she is going to talk to us just about how college seniors can go about looking for that job after graduation. Hi, Michelle. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. So tell me a little bit about what industries are hiring right now and for what sort of positions, because I know we're hearing a lot about furloughs and people losing their jobs, but there are still companies that are hiring.
There certainly are. And if you think about the different ways that we've had to adapt the way that we work and live, there are still job opportunities available. Some of those might not be exactly what the college graduates or other workers had expected to do. So one of the keys right now is being extremely adaptable and working to gather as much transferable skills as you can. Getting things under your belt like great customer service, teamwork, critical thinking, those are all great skills that you can acquire. And the industries that are hiring include, the industries that are bouncing back include positions like sales and related workers, packers and packagers, and warehouse workers.
Got it. And so usually a lot of people will network when it comes to finding their next job, and they'll go to events and they'll meet people, or maybe they'll just connect on LinkedIn. What are some ways that college grads can still network and continue to build these relationships, even if they can't go out and actually meet people in person?
Yeah, now is still a great time to leverage connections to make sure that they are getting in front of the right people for roles. And some of that networking is happening virtually now. A lot of companies are offering either virtual networking or additional educational opportunities for workers to gather new and different skills.
So how does the virtual networking work? Is it just one big Zoom call that people go on and they meet each other, or how does that go?
Yeah, there's a variety of different formats. Typically there's a topic and a general discussion followed by breakouts.
Got it. Well, that's pretty neat. I think that's cool. You could sit at home and you could meet a lot of people and you're not distracted by necessarily going and, oh, let me go talk to that one. Oh, let me go grab a drink. You're kind of focused and you're forced to sit and to talk to the people that you're doing this networking with.
Right. In the midst of all of the challenges that are happening right now, there's also some really great innovation happening that I certainly appreciate, and I hope that the college grads will take advantage too.
Yeah, absolutely. So what lessons can be learned from college grads who enter the workforce during maybe previous economic downturns?
Well, I think one of the things that can happen is there's a lot of changes in the expectations, right? And whether they're hearing, here's how an interview process typically works, or here's an interview process that, you know, someone I know that graduated 2 years ago went through, just kind of reset all of those expectations, because what happens is when the labor market is very hot, the speed of the interview process and the speed that companies have to move in order to compete for talent, you know, significantly goes down. It's a very fast process. When the labor market slows down, it's a much slower process, and companies are being very thoughtful. They're going to be reopening positions very slowly. So having patience is key, and staying connected to the companies that you're looking to join in a really thoughtful way is a way that they can cope with some of the different expectations.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And if people are looking for that new career and they're trying to figure out, okay, what can I do? Or maybe what's something that I could do that's a little different than what I've been doing, where can they go?
They can certainly look online, and I would put it into a couple different buckets. You know, first, they can work on their resume and highlight skills and other achievements that they might have that, you know, aren't directly related to work experience or new experience that they gather. We have seen at CareerBuilder that most employers are putting a lot more emphasis on soft skills than they used to in the past. So gathering those soft skills, building out their resume, those things are, you know, continue to be really, really important. Then they can also be adaptable in the types of positions and the industries that they're willing to join. And I think that also shows that they're agile and willing to roll with the punches, great qualities that everyone wants in their employees. And then finally, continuing education, continuing to learn new and different skills, those are all signs that can make them more marketable.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. What great advice. Michelle Armour, she is the Chief People Officer of CareerBuilder. And for your next career, just head to careerbuilder.com.
Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson. Motherhood is a journey. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
Welcome back to the show. So if you are like me, you're home during this time, maybe with toddlers, preschoolers, any age kid really. And, you know, I have to say that at the beginning of all of this, I kept seeing all these things online about all these online classes you should be doing with your kids and how many hours of homeschooling you should be doing. And I have a 3-year-old and an 11-month-old. And my 3-year-old really doesn't want to sit still for very long when it comes to learning anything, but we do integrate it into her play throughout the day. And that is one thing that she absolutely loves doing is playing. So really, we just play all day. And I'm thrilled to have with me today Adrienne Appel. She is the Senior Director of Strategic Communications for the Toy Association, and they've recently launched a national movement to educate parents and caregivers about play's vital role in child development. It's been spearheaded by the Toy Association. It is called the Genius of Play. Hi, Adrienne. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Sure. So tell me a little bit about the Toy Association and about the Genius of Play movement.
So the Toy Association is an organization that is not-for-profit that really supports all businesses represented in the toy industry. So we launched the Genius of Play a couple of years ago, and the Genius of Play has been a national movement that's really to educate parents and caregivers on play's vital role in child development. And when the campaign was launched, probably about 5 years ago, it was more because we wanted to remind parents and caregivers that play was so important and the skills that kids were learning through play because of our busy lives, because we were working and rushing to school and rushing from activity to activity. And obviously the world has changed dramatically in the past 2 months, and we have a lot of time now. We're not really rushing from anywhere, but we do still have a lot of stress in our daily lives. And, I have a 5 and a 7-year-old, and, my husband and I are home working and dealing with homeschool and dealing with, all of the outside stresses and uncertainty. But we've really been able to connect through play. And Genius of Play has launched Play Today, and it's a resource for parents and caregivers looking for the same kind of stuff that we're looking for, right? Keeping kids occupied and engaged during the current crisis. So whether it's an indoor activity to get kids up and moving, we're here in the New York area. It's been raining. It's been not great. We want to get our kids active. We want them off the screen, so there are ideas for that. There's also a great list of learning at home resources. And I know you mentioned a lot of those things, came up right when this started and kind of overwhelmed and bombarded with all the free great content that was out there. Well, it's all on this site pulled together, so you don't need to go searching to all these other places.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so a lot of museums and, authors, illustrators, the local zoos have been putting together a lot of content. My 5-year-old, he loves the Cincinnati Zoo. Every day at 3 o'clock, do a Facebook thing. So we've been watching that. So there are things, like you said, like, your 3-year-old doesn't want to sit around and learn. My 5-year-old is the same kind of thing. But when we can do things like the zoo, he's learning about different animals. And then, he has a Zoom meeting with his class twice a day. And he goes on and he tells them about the hippopotamus he learned about, So I think there are all these different things that, when kids are playing, they are learning. My kids have been learning chess with my husband in the afternoons. And, it's teaching them strategic thinking and, different skills. So I think, it doesn't always have to be about what the school curriculum is, and, you have to rule with an iron fist. And at least for us, we're taking it day by day. We're recognizing that this is a crazy time. It's something that nobody could ever prepare for. But if we're keeping them engaged and they're having fun, and through play they're learning, it makes all of us happier at the end of the day.
Right, exactly. And I think it also puts less pressure on us because, like you said, your husband is teaching your kids chess. That's amazing. I have never learned chess, believe it or not. And yeah, right, okay. And so I feel like, wow, that's something that I really wish I had learned when I was younger. Again, I could still learn now, but who has the time? And so I think things like that, those are skills. Those are things that they'll remember for years from now, as opposed to, I spent another hour on my schoolwork. And I'm not saying don't do your schoolwork, but play is so important. So tell us more about the Genius of Play's new online resource. I know you said that it compiled all of the different places into one place, which is great because I kept seeing different things advertised for this class and that class. And I thought, I have to write that down. And then I just never did. What else is on that website?
There's quick and easy things you can look at. So the other thing the Genius of Play has always done is for every activity that's posted, it has a correlating developmental benefit. So, if you don't realize the benefit, it spells it out for you. But there's different ways that you can do the indoor activities to get kids up and moving. Then there are different play ideas. Some of them have videos where, different things you could do with Play-Doh, cat's cradle game, shadow tag, jump rope. I mean, some of these things is like you kind of know it once you see it, and you're like, wait a second, like, oh, I didn't think of that. Because you're right. You're overwhelmed with stuff. You're trying to figure out things. So all these ideas are there for you. And what I like about it is it's for any size family, whatever age the kids are, you'll find something that works well for you. On the toy side of things, people will always ask me, especially around the holidays, what's the hot toy this year? And I'm like, nobody ever likes my answer, but I always say, like, there's not one hot toy. It's like, what does your kid like? How old are they? What do they enjoy doing? So the same approach is kind of taken from this. Like the way that, you may be playing with your kids is probably different than the way I'm playing with my kids because they're a little bit older, but you'll be able to go on there and see, what's what's going to work best for your family, with your space restraints or, what you have available to you, which is what I like.
Yeah, exactly. And so just give us a sample real quickly of some activities that will be available at the Play Today Hub.
So if you go on, you can see some videos. We have like different ideas, like making a fort in your living room. I know my kids, like when I was little, my sister and I felt like we did it every weekend. It wasn't really something we ever introduced here, but my kids loved it. They made a fort, and for like 3 hours, they were in that fort with flashlights and books, and it was kind of their own private space. So that kept them really engaged. Different Play-Doh activities. Most people have a jar of Play-Doh at home. Can we think of new ways to play with it? Different ways to engage kids. So just kind of like guided ways to kind of think of. You do the same things over and over again, or how do you connect through play? Different virtual play ideas to turn passive screen time into playtime. So, the screens, kids want to be in front of them, but instead of, watching a show or can you take a virtual art lesson, go on a virtual field trip, like I mentioned, the zoo, different digital escape rooms, even setting up a play date or a virtual party with friends. That's been crucial for my 7-year-old. She's been liking to do Zoom calls in the afternoon with friends, and they talk, and because they're missing that socialization.
Right.
I bought some Mad Libs online, and my kids played Mad Libs over FaceTime with my parents because they haven't been able to with their grandparents.
Right.
And they're learning adjective, verb, noun, adverb, different spelling. She's writing, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So I think just simple things that you may not think of, are great ways to connect as a family.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just mentioned so many things that we probably did when we were kids, but like you said, haven't thought about in quite a while. And also play must really help children cope with the stress and anxiety during this time because, a lot of kids, especially if they're younger, they're not quite sure how to process all this.
Exactly. And especially through imaginative play for the younger kids, it's going to open up some conversations. Like your 3-year-old might not tell you, like, hey, I feel scared today because I saw somebody with a face mask. But when they're playing with their dolls and, one of the dolls has a face mask and they've shunned them in the corner, you could say, why? Well, I don't really like that. I mean, it happened with my son with his action figures, but I don't really like that. And that's how you have those conversations because you can really get a window into what they're thinking, especially now. But even before, I feel like when my kids would role play and dress up, I learned so much about their social interactions and what went on at school rather than just asking, like, hey, what'd you do at school today? Like, they would never tell you.
Right, exactly. It's funny because, yes, her dolls have been quite sick very often lately, and she's taking care of them, and she has made comments and things, and even when it comes to potty training, she puts her dolls on the toilet first, and she says, he's going to go potty, and then I'm going to go potty. I said, great, whatever works, whatever gets you on that potty, but you're right, you can really see a lot through the way that they play. And what can parents do to encourage learning through play at home? Because maybe some parents just don't know how to get started with it.
I think any play you're going to do, you're going to learn. So I think you need to be less focused on what are you learning and just realize they are learning. Even when you're cooking with your kids, they're learning measurement. They're learning, cause and effect. I mean, I have not been baking bread, but I know a lot of people right now are baking bread. You're talking about how yeast spices. There's so many value that you just don't realize. So I think the first thing is be less focused on what the learning is and be more focused on the fun. Because if they don't like doing it, they're not going to have fun. And that's the point is to have fun. But realize they're learning. Even when you play games, I learned through this, which we always suspected, my 5-year-old is a really sore loser. So we're trying to teach him how he can lose graciously. He got very angry when he lost Monopoly and he started crumpling up all the money. We had to talk to him about regulating his emotions. Why was he angry? But it's just you really have to find something that you enjoy doing, and also don't look at it as a chore. Like, hey, we have to play now. You can do this in very, very small increments, and kind of get it set up. And we've also been using it as something to look forward to. So I know every weekend, we'd have a birthday party or we'd have plans to go see family or friends, and it was always something to look forward to. And now, because we don't have that mobility and, we're not going anywhere and we're not seeing anybody, we're able to use play as somewhat of like a plan or a reward system. So my daughter said, on Saturday, can we all build a fort, in the living room and sleep on the pull-out couch? Well, I don't know if I want to do that, but yeah, we can build a fort. We can rest on the pull-out couch, But it's different things that they're looking forward to. So some of the ideas, let them come up with play ideas if they're old enough to articulate them. And is that something you can look forward to? Like, hey, on Sunday afternoon, if you're good, we can do this, or we could bake cookies, and all of these different activities. You can kind of, you'll be learning, but it'll be something to look forward to. So not only using play as a reward, but almost as something to look forward to, some sort of sense of anticipation of something good coming on the horizon.
Right, exactly. And I know, like you said, the baking, I mean, my 3-year-old loves, it's all she ever talks about is let's bake brownies, let's bake cookies. And she loves playing with the flour. And the other morning, we just poured oatmeal out into a pot. I was about to cook it. And instead, she wanted to play with it. And that went on for probably 2 hours of her just pushing the oatmeal back and forth.
Exactly. And, you're having fun while doing it, and you can allow time to be unstructured. For those of us who are homeschooling, kind of taking some liberties, like, yes, we're getting through the work, but it doesn't need to be so regimented. If they need to take a play break, or if they want to do something else that we can find learning value in, we're letting them. And I think right now we all need to cut ourselves a little slack. It's hard on the kids, it's hard on us, and I think we just have to kind of take it day by day. But I've found, especially, for my family, being able to play together has been a wonderful coping mechanism for all of us.
Yeah. And when you talk about play, it's not just beneficial for kids. It's really beneficial for all ages. Tell me, why is play so important even for adults?
Well, I think, play, you're kind of being able to shut down the outside noise. You're not worrying about something. I think we're all by nature such multitaskers. I mean, I don't even know when I have the TV on, I'm on my phone and I'm doing something else. I'll have multiple screens open, especially now with all the constant flow of news and information. Most of it is pretty scary. When we sat down and we played, a game as a family, the kids are going to give you crap. Hey, put your phone down, Mom. And I feel like, especially in the first couple of days when this happened, we were playing games a lot. And it was the best thing for me. We were laughing. We were having fun. It was almost like I was forgetting what was going on the outside, and I was really focusing on them. So when you're sitting there playing and hopefully putting down your screens and, focusing, and you can just have good times together. And I keep saying to my husband, when this is all over, I hope that the kids remember all the fun things that we did together. And I'm trying to say, today was a good day. We'll go for a hike. We'll play soccer in the yard. We have our game nights. We've done a lot of Lego. And I hope that, in 5-10 years, remember when we were home? We played a lot. This a lot. And I think that's one of the things that we can control.
Yeah, absolutely. Adrienne Appel, thank you so much for joining me today. Where can listeners go for additional information for the Genius of Play?
They can go to thegeniusofplay.org.
Terrific. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation. You're welcome. And if you're sitting there listening right now and your child's in the other room, go grab them and go start playing. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. More coming up in a few.
Motherhood is a journey. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. So we hear more and more every week about different ways that we might be able to apply for aid during this financial crisis of a time with the pandemic. And one thing that Payactiv is doing is they are really helping workers get their hands on earned wages immediately. So today I have with me the CEO of Payactiv, Safwan Shah. He is the co-founder and CEO, and he's going to tell us just a little bit about Payactiv and how it has been helping employees and employers around the country. Hi, Safwan. Thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you very much. Excited to be here.
Tell me a little bit about Payactiv.
So, yes, we are a technology platform. We work with businesses, and businesses, once they sign up with us, can offer our service as a benefit, a financial wellness benefit to their employees. And employees then download a mobile app from Google and Apple stores, and they can actually see how much money they have earned in real time. So if you worked 5 days, the payroll is 10 days away. You can actually see how much money you've earned until the 5th day, and you can access what you've already earned through us instantly. So we make payroll on demand.
Oh, that's terrific, because a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck even while we're not in this pandemic.
Exactly. Even before the pandemic, 70% people were living paycheck to paycheck, and the situation has only become more exacerbated.
So how are you helping those workers that are hardest hit in this crisis and those that are on the front lines as well?
So we have, let me start with the frontline workers. We serve more than 500 hospitals and senior living centers, several 100,000 people. And so the essential services folks, they need money instantly because all the expenses have changed during these times. Families are at home, food, groceries, etc. So we are working with them day in, day out. Then there are a lot of other industries that we work with, which are very hard hit. For instance, restaurant industry. And we do as much as we can through hardship assistance and so on. So we have, we cover the entire, 50 states. And lots of people are using us for different reasons, sometimes just to pay a bill. We also pay bills. Or just to move money on a card, we do that. Sometimes just to pay cash. They don't want to go to a bank. So they really need the cash at 3 a.m. So through our app, they can get a PIN number and pick cash at Walmart stores. So all kinds of needs.
Wow, that's terrific. And so what sets you apart from others offering maybe similar services?
I think what I just said, the multitude of ways you can access your money instantly. Nobody has come close to offering these many services. We also offer ability to get Uber and pay for Uber using our app. When you don't have a card or any money, how do you do it? You do it using the hours you've already worked and are inaccessible to you.
I love that. And because a lot of people, they don't even want to carry cash around. And especially today, taking cash and handling it. So I think that's another positive. So does Payactiv help employers as well as workers?
Yeah, since we go through employers, so they are the ones who actually have to agree to provide our service to their employees. And in return, what they get is we front all the funds. So there's no change in the employer's cash flow. Secondly, it immediately lifts the morale of the employees and improves engagement, retention, and ability to recruit new employees. So employers do get multiple benefits by getting Payactiv.
Right, exactly. And you partnered with Paychex. How do you complement each other?
So Paychex is the nation's leading, the leader in providing payroll services to small businesses. They do 1 in 12 payroll in America, and they serve more than 600,000 small businesses. So they provide payroll. We provide earned wage access. Together, it's payroll on demand. And therefore, it's a very symbiotic relationship.
Got it. All right. So tell everybody, where can they go for more information as an employer, as an employee, if they would like to bring this up to their employer to possibly get on board?
So if you're an employee, please go tell your employer. And the place to find out more is www.payactiv, Payactiv, without an E, payactiv.com. That's the place to get all the information.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Like I said, even before the pandemic, I think this is a wonderful tool for employers to offer their employees. And again, especially during this time, very, very helpful. Savwan Shah, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay healthy.